good. Jason Strong, welcome to Keating Interviews.
Thanks for having me, Keating.
This is a pleasure to re-begin my shows here on Fairfield Public Access TV after about a 13-year layoff. So getting started, you can see we're bumping through the camera and so on. So we'll have some fun. And I'm gonna interview him today to talk about FPAC TV and how it works and what's available and what you do, Jason, here at the studio. So go ahead, tell me what is FPAC TV and what do you do to make it available to the community?
Well, I'm the director for the Fairfield Media Center, which oversees and runs FPAC Channel 9, which broadcasts on Mediacom and Lisco Cable. And then we also oversee the online web pages that also host a lot of our content. All of that can be found online through a couple of different formats. One, you can see us on Facebook, which we publish a bunch of stuff on there. Our YouTube channel, which is simply enough youtube.com/Fairfield Media Center. So pretty easy to find that way. And we have all sorts of different playlists, and we have a playlist called Broadcast, which is the same content that we're showing on the TV channel itself that's being broadcasted. So that way, let's say you're sitting at home, you really want to watch, let's say, Buddha at the Gas Pump or Great Taste. Then instead of waiting around for it to come on, at 7:15 or whatnot, you can go directly online, whether it's on your mobile phone, computer, anything like that, and be able to watch it when you want to watch it, wherever you want to watch it. So that's the whole reason for doing that. Part of that also came out of years ago when YouTube started coming into the picture. YouTube became the public access for the world. So a lot of little public access TV stations started to really struggle. And so one of the things we did was, well, instead of fighting against it, let's use it to our advantage. And so YouTube not only gives us the ability to get that content out on demand to everybody who's using those social apps, but it also gives us a quote-unquote living accessible archive that we didn't have to spend any money to develop ourselves like most public access stations would have to do. And so we do have a hard drive based archive, in case, God forbid, Google ever goes down or goes away or whatever, we still have an archive that way that we can always fall back on. And that way also too, if people want a copy of a show that we did, let's say 10 years ago, we can pull that up and we can send them that. We can make it into a DVD, we can put it on a jump drive, we can send it to them as a downloadable link, things of that nature. So it makes it really accessible for that older content.
This is cool because about the last time I did a show, we were using the tapes and all that sort of thing. So to go to the modern format, this is really cool. Mm-hmm. And I'm getting acquainted with this whole thing myself, so I'm going to learn bump through some mistakes and things like that.
I do it all the time. I run into mistakes and brick walls, and I get on Google and I do my own searches and I figure out how to overcome them and make them happen.
So can people still do a TV show here and put it on FPAC TV? How would they do that, like I'm going to be doing here today?
Right now, since we moved from our prior location, we're now located here at the Civic Center. We don't have a dedicated studio anymore in that regards.
Right.
That being said, we do have access to a studio from one of our board members, Neil Cunningham, who runs the furniture shop up on the square. And so he has graciously allowed us to use that area as kind of a studio when we need to.
Good deal, and I'll use it too, that's great.
So that's something we could possibly use. Also, we tend to film here at the Civic Center wherever possible. So like today we're in I think it's the Cambridge conference room, and we do Great Taste on location at Green Building Supply. So that solves a studio issue there.
And people can tape at home too? And then
people can tape at home. They can,
and then just email it to you and you put it on?
The easiest and most common way that people send us stuff anymore, because like I said, YouTube became the public access for the world. A lot of people have their own YouTube channels. And so rather than necessarily coming to us all the time for equipment, some people have invested in some equipment, or their mobile phones. I mean, everybody's carrying an HD, 4K mobile phone that can do it. You just need the right mic or the, right lighting or something. So there's a little investment, if you want to be self-sustaining. but they can do it at home. They upload it to their own YouTube channel, and then it's as easy as saying, hey, I made a show here. Here's the URL for it. Would you guys be willing to broadcast it? Okay. Absolutely. It can be that simple.
So this is really, YouTube's blessed us with being the middleman.
Yep.
And the financial partner to take a lot of the costs and arrangements for us, so that the local access can come from people to YouTube, here to Fairfield Media.
Yeah, Fairfield Media.
And then be broadcast locally as well as internationally.
And that's the other cool thing about utilizing YouTube in that way is they have their own YouTube channel. So they're getting all the likes, the clicks, the shares that are counting towards their clicks. But by us utilizing that URL code, we can plug it into our playlist and hit a whole nother side of people that they may never be able to reach. Beautiful. And they're still getting all the likes, all the clicks, and all the shares are being attached to their channel.
Okay, well, you'll be seeing me utilize this in the next few weeks. I plan to do a weekly show. You got several shows that people watch. You mentioned, what are the top 2 or 3 that people enjoy on FX?
Buddha the Gas Pump seems to be a very popular one. Great Taste, which is hosted by Steve Boss, which started out on Crew, and then once Crew closed its doors, we picked it up and carried it on. And he's recently just started broadcasting again on another radio station, I believe, out of Iowa City. And so it's a radio-based cooking show, which surprised me at first, but it works out really, really well for both venues, video and radio. And so it's been a great thing doing that. And then Great Taste, and then also City Business we carried on from Crew. Okay. We renamed it City Biz, and it's just a review of the city council meetings, kind of in a conversation type setting, instead of just going through the agenda. And that seems to be doing pretty well as well. Very good. So those are just the few little quick ones, but we have a whole genre, a whole list of people who provide local content.
Very good. This is good for me to know I'm getting reacquainted with the station too. Let me just ask you, what's one of your biggest challenges or here doing your job?
One of my biggest challenges would have to probably be just teaching the public how to utilize video in a way that's anybody can shoot video, you know, like home videos, home movies, but not everybody knows how to shoot it for broadcast, you know, type thing. And there's a big difference between those two. Okay. And so it's you know, getting enough people involved when we do have classes to be able to really utilize that knowledge that we're trying to give out.
Well, cool.
And so,
because if we need to, we'll do a class with me, and you can air it, and then people, when they need to learn stuff, they can just refer to the class, and you walk me through stuff. This will work perfect.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And then the other question I have, and we'll be up at the end of the time here. What do you enjoy most about doing your job?
What do I enjoy most? I enjoy it all. I'm actually doing something I really love to do. And I didn't realize how much I enjoy teaching it and passing information along. I don't really look at myself as a teacher. I've never looked at myself that way, and maybe that's a good thing, maybe it's not, I don't know. But everybody who has taken one of my little classes at the library or whatnot, and they've always said, you've done an excellent job. Even when I completely fumbled it and I was having technical difficulties right in the middle of the class, people came up to me afterwards and they're like, it's so great actually seeing a professional get stumbled, get tripped up, and having to mentally go through it and figure out what the problem is and how to solve it right in front of everybody.
Beautiful.
And so, you know, that's probably the biggest thing, is just realizing, you know, that I do have that capability. I do have that ability to do that. And so that's really kind of opened my eyes and pushed me out of my box and whatnot. And then also with doing the film series, with the Fairfield History series with Dick DeAngelis, that has really broadened my scope, being the director of photography for it. I mean, doing video for TV is one whole little thing in its own. Doing film is a whole nother level. And so it really is, it's a whole different caliber of how you set things up, how you look at the lighting, how you work the audio, how you have everybody framed, you know, especially like when we did some of the reenactments. I mean, here we are, Dick, you know, he's never directed a film before. I've never been the director of photography before on a film, and here we are trying to do reenactment stuff, type thing. And it's just the involvement and everything that comes together in something like that has been really, really cool. And Fairfield Media Center is so happy to be a part of that project. Being that they're a nonprofit, we're charged with working with nonprofits. And that while this one's a little bit of a specialty one, type thing, just because of what it is, we love working with nonprofits. I mean, that's part of the reason why we exist, is not only for the public, to give them access and give them a voice, but to help those nonprofits in our community be able to do what they need to do.
Wow. This is beautiful because this is a community resource.
Absolutely.
And what you're doing is giving us really a connection to interact with each other, and it's beautiful. And I love what you just said too, to take yourself and put yourself in a situation where you're teaching, you make mistakes, and the students see, hey, mistakes are part of the learning process.
Absolutely.
They're not something to be ashamed of or a mistake or a problem. They're good because we can learn from our mistakes, and that they feel more comfortable seeing you make mistakes. Like, okay, I can do this. That's
the professionals aren't always perfect.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. That's a beautiful teaching example. That look, you're going to make mistakes as part of the process,
Yeah.
and here I'm going to show you. I'll show you a couple here today. So at some point. And then I love this other part where you get to go to the bigger parameter of the film, and to do that, you have to go. Not looking so much at a small little kind of thing, but you have to go to a real big perspective to include the sound, the lights, all these the things that.
Well, I mean, when you're working with it, you're not only focused on, okay, this is what I have to do right now. It's, okay, this is what I need to do right now, but what I'm doing now affects what's going to come way later down the line. And, whether that be in the editing process months or years later, or whether it's just, okay, I've picked this style for the interviews. How is that going to work throughout this film? Because you want to have some sort of consistency through it and not be changing it up all the time, because psychologically that can break your audience from the content that you're trying to develop. And so there really is a psychology behind it. And so when we got into doing this film, at one point I asked Dick, I said, do you really want to open this can of worms? I mean, it's something none of us have ever done, but it has turned out to be such a blessing to be able to do this project, and to have over 100 volunteers working in and out of this project as we've gone through this process.
Cool. I'm going to interview you again at some point and do an interview just about that, because the making of this is a whole story all by itself. So.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, you got to grab an interview with DeAngelis.
Oh yeah, we'll get him too.
Absolutely.
We'll do a 4 or 5 part interview. It'll be a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
Jason Strong, thank you for being a guest, and thank you for what you do and how you bless our community. Appreciate it, man.
All right.
Okay, we're finished with the show. I'm going to get up and turn off the buttons and all this sort of thing, and welcome to join us again next week. Thank you.